You found out more about Golovkin in that fight.
We found out more about GGG in the Jacobs fight. And a lot of people say he finally fought somebody. That could be true. Some people say he's slowing down. I don't agree with that because the type of style he has, that's not going to erode quick.
Right.
You know, he fights with his feet on the ground, and he fights within a system of himself. So that's not going to go anywhere soon. You know, the power is the last thing that leaves you. So you have to give Jacobs the credit, and you have to acknowledge Golovkin, you know, that he went through a tough fight. And his knockout streak ended, but I think the fight did good for him. I think the fight did great for Danny. You know, Danny learned a lot about himself, and he has a great future. And I really think that a rematch should have been ordered.
Are you surprised that they, you know, whether it be fans or media or whoever, that they haven't been demanding a rematch as much for that fight as they did for...
I am surprised. Well, no. Let me take that back. I'm not surprised because the way that fight went, do you really want to get back up in there with Jacobs where he made a mistake here, maybe a mistake there, and but you could flip it to the other side. You know, does Jacobs want to get back up in there with Gennady? I think Jacobs would be more apt to get back up in there with Gennady than vice versa. Now, I'm not saying it's Gennady himself, but it's brain trust.
Right.
I don't think Abel Sanchez would want to rematch that fight, a fight that close soon, although Jacobs deserves the fight.
Yeah, but where's the... That's what I'm wondering is where's the uproar for a rematch for that fight?
Yeah.
Where I mean that was a close fight.
Yes.
Close fight. I mean could have gone either way. You know, can't really argue if either fighter. No real different than, you know, Dre's fight with Kovalev.
No different.
But with that fight, they demanded, he needs to do an immediate rematch. This needs to happen next month. I mean, like, they were so adamant that a rematch needed to happen between Dre and Kovalev.
Right.
But you're not hearing that same outcry for Golovkin and Jacobs. Is it because in one instance the quote unquote favorite, you know, the house guy actually won, and in the other case the quote unquote favorite did not win? Is
well,
that
I think in those two situations, I think a lot of people feel like maybe Kovalev had an off night, or, you know, they don't. And I want to make sure, you know, I'm accurate in my statement. They just was not used to seeing him get bulldogged, you know, around the ring. When he knocks somebody down, they're used to seeing him finish the job. And then I'm sure there were plans to be made. This is why we were put at such a disadvantage, height-wise, size-wise, all these things. I mean, it's obvious they really wanted to fight because in the two tune-up fights we had, they went along with the opponent that we have. Now, keep in mind, that's not the opponents that we chose. You see, we wanted to fight somebody in the top 10, but they had excuses not to fight.
Right.
So, with the date running out in Brand's situation, he stepped up to the plate, so we had no other choice. You know, we came out of the garage and fought Barrera, who was #1 at the time.
Yeah.
And we didn't get no credit for that. In other words, they dismantled Barrera. And they dismantled him so much that Golden Boy actually believed that the light heavyweight they had could beat him. And I tried to explain to people that Barrera can fight. He was in tip-top shape. He comes from a good system. And if you watch him fight, he knows how to fight. He knows how to fight. And any light heavyweight up there, Kovalev included, he gonna have a rough time. If you don't beat him, it's gonna be still gonna be a tough fight. You know, because he's determined. You can tell he's serious about the game. And he made a coaching change, and he looked darn good, man. In that fight, I mean, he took a good shot, and he never let up. You know, he actually could have finished that kid's career the way that went down. You know, it was a total destruction of a talent. You see, so that kid had been knocking everybody out, but he finally fought somebody. So back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure everybody thought that he would beat Barrera. You know, now, so how did Andre beat him so easy then? You know, because of pedigree. Because of pedigree. But I tried to tell everybody we beat a real fighter coming out of the garage. They didn't get no credit for it. He didn't get no credit for it at all. Only Sullivan Barrera got sort of put down that he didn't fight nobody. He was really, you know, not belonging at the top. And, well, he's proved different. You know. Yeah. And what's interesting is when you look at just like Dre and Kovalev, it's funny because, you know, oh, for sure, he lost. It's funny, you know, and I don't never get on social media, but I did read the first week on social media. Not the fans, because you have some of the most some of the fans on social media. I mean, I don't get it. It's really sick. Yeah. You know, the racial stuff. The name calling and what I'm gonna do to your mama, and you know I'm doing your sister, and I mean these are people who are watching boxing. You know, and they're doing all this stuff against another individual that they're not gonna see. You know, not gonna ever meet up with. So they feel brave to do it. Right. You see? So I haven't seen one comment column yet that speaks serious boxing from the fans, where you get a sense that, hey, we got some fans out there that really know what's happening in the sport, you know, and they're making some solid comments, you know, and we should acknowledge that. But unfortunately, you don't have it. You know, it's they have their favorites, and if you go against their favorites, it becomes racial. I mean, I've seen some stuff on there that if these two individuals met, somebody could get killed. Wow. You know, some of the statements.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. But